Alright guys, just a bit of an update. I'll show you what we've been working on now. So this will probably succeed yesterday's video. So we're going to Battle Arena. I know it's still a bit laggy here at the moment, still we've got to do that fix. And ignore this down here, it gets deleted. Actually, it doesn't get deleted, it gets replaced. But you know what I mean. We'll jump into solo because it's easy. Jump into Monster Hunt because it shows basically everything without me having to worry about enemies. So we've gone through and we have fixed the flag. It is now pretty consistent. So the flag is cool. Oh, hello, Skeleton Guard. By the way, you'll see see, just he jumped. And by the way, if I go through and nap him down a bit, and then when he follows me around, we'll show him. He actually revitalizes his health. So he's animated frame at the moment, and he should change sooner rather than later. There we go, Bloodbound. So now he's a new rank or a new level. His corruption is growing. It is working. All right. So obviously the big thing that we've been working on is if we go in inventory, we're getting the player inventory system built out, which is interesting because it sort of relies into the whole like picking up items and stuff, and have a newfound appreciation for CIG. We go to character. This is what I've been working on today. So yes, it is very much like Destiny. Obviously here you have that will be changed to your actual class, not your subclass, your class icon, because every class has its icon. Obviously this here will be subclass, primary, secondary, tertiary, grenades. Then over here you'll have your head, neck, arms, legs, boots, you know, whatever it may be. They've all been worked out. Here is obviously, it's just filled in information for now, but obviously this will be your currency and also your void shards. We'll talk about that later. And maybe something else. I'm not quite sure. At the moment, we're just going through and just copying the Destiny layout. So, and obviously, for example, you can go back to the inventory, which doesn't seem to load the thing. Have to check on that. You got the Beasty, and then you got the party, and then you can go back to the thing. So all of these menus are now working, which is obviously easy enough to do. But yeah, this is what we've been working on. What I'm going to do is have it so that like in Destiny, you hover over and it will sort of expand and allow you to click on your subclass. Or here, it'll pop out on the side and it'll have like a menu with like, for example, the primary weapons that you currently are holding. We were going to do it with the inventory system and have it so that it's just the one item, which I sort of do like a little bit. But oops. But I don't know. I also kind of like the whole Destiny wave handy sort of thing where you weren't sort of cluttering up your inventory with a whole bunch of items. So I'm not sure. The reason we haven't done this pop-out thing yet is we're not sure what we're going to do here. I've got two options. One, Destiny-like thing. You hover over it and you've got a whole bunch of primary weapons that you've picked up that you can select with amount of slots. Or two, you have it so that... Hang on, let me go back into the inventory. Or that it's in the inventory here. Obviously, this gets expanded out. In the inventory, and then you can click on items and it will go through and it will automatically equip here. Depending on how immersive we want to make it. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm leaning towards the second. Let me know your thoughts. And then obviously the Beasty, I know it's probably spelled wrong, but it's just temporary. The Beasty is obviously going through and is where it'll be the information section where you basically go through and you'll be able to look up a journal and it'll be able to tell you what sort of animals are where and what you've hunted and how to weaknesses and strengths and stuff like that. So it'll be like an online encyclopedia. Obviously background image generated by ChatGPT, but very cool. I like it. And it sort of fits in with the whole theme that we've got going here. But apart from that, guys, obviously at the end of the day, he's fully maxed out. So, as you can see, it takes a lot more to kill him now than it used to. And obviously this guy is also maxed out too. So, yeah. But you can see that their bar is fully maxed out, meaning they are full. They are fully corrupted. They are... By the way, with this they'll have things like flames and stuff all over them too, so it's going to look a lot more cooler than just the standard mesh. Apart from that, guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. We're going to start working on the weapons next. We're going to leave this character stuff at the moment. We're going to come back to this. I might make it so that it goes through and sort of puts the icons here for the weapons. But at the moment, we're going to go through and just leave this at the moment apart from that. And we're going to probably work on the weapons. We've started doing it, I've started doing it already. If we go under props and we go under weapons, you got your base weapon, right, which is just a simple blueprint with weight, damage, classification, weapon name, blah blah blah. So your classification will be like, for example, common, uncommon, rare, blah blah blah. I think that's how I did it. And then, for example, your weapons for Earth is obviously your Earth base is here, which is just a lot of the same, but it's just a parent or a child, sorry. And then you sort of go into like the crossbows, for example. You have your then child of that. So basically goes through. It still carries over the same stats, as you can see here. Parent is obviously and then obviously after that, that's when you start then getting into your actual weapons. So like your Abelis will have, for example, we'll go through and I'm not sure if we want to create a child or just create a separate blueprint. I'll have to check on that. But like, for example, your axes, you got your battle axes. So what will happen is obviously your axes, for example, will have different attributes or different variables than, for example, your swords. So you'll be able to go through and actually then like add the attribute to here, and then when you make the actual weapon, it will carry the attribute over from the parent. So it's a very hierarchical sort of system that allows for expansion. But like, for example, your firearms here, right? This is like your muskets and your stuff like that. Obviously, your muskets and that is going to have things like, like shooting distance, drop off, all that sort of stuff. That's not necessarily going to be the same as like a knife or a sword, right? Because you're not going to throw a sword. You might throw a knife, but you won't throw a sword. So at the end of the day, that's why we've sort of done this very hierarchical system. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Very hierarchical system where basically all these weapons are basically running off parents and childs. And, like, for example, your hand cannons. We don't really have hand cannons on Earth. Could probably delete the hand cannons. I think there's some old school hand cannons. Yeah. But like your pistols, for example, right? You got your flintlock pistols. So like, for example, if you go into your flintlock here, right, it carries over all the stats. It's got all the standard stats here. But this is when, like, for example, we'd go through and would start adding like common variables to this that will then carry over to the pistols and then to the flintlock pistols. So it's a very hierarchical system and very, very modular. So you can just simply add more weapons. You just simply click on that and go create child, and then you got a new system. But yeah, guys, apart from that, this is probably what we're going to be working on next. We're going to start importing some of these weapons and making these weapons up. So let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Hope you enjoy.